Hello and welcome to our podcast, The Ups and Downs of a Small Business Owner, where we hope to show you exactly what it's like to grow a business.
So we're here for today's episode of Ups and Downs of a Small Business Owner with maybe one of the most important business owners in Astorwood.
Probably not, but we'll go with it.
Just take it. This is David Adderson, co-founder of Utopia Solutions and my business partner.
Well, that's an introduction.
So, what made you start Utopia, David?
I always wanted to be at the top of a business. My dream, I think, when I was younger was, well, not quite younger, but when I was like going into accountancy was be like an FD, to be near the top, to be able to advise people, to be able to give the right information to business owners. That's where I always wanted to be. And I was trying to get there. And I think in the smaller businesses, I kind of was the only finance person there, but it still wasn't quite right. It wasn't that. And then the opportunity came up, well, when I met you and we're dabbling with the idea of it, I just wanted to have a say, wanted to be known, wanted to but in a business, you kind of always felt like I was at the bottom, whereas I wanted to be heard by the business. In previous places, the boss always said what happens and how it works. Whereas, okay, you still don't listen to me, but I still have a say and I kind of can make an impact.
So the ability to make those decisions.
Yeah, to make them decisions and also to become that person for clients.
Mm.
So it was to be able to give them that information or to support them. And I love the idea of working for myself. Go on holiday when you want, drive nice cars, all that flashy lifestyle.
All right, okay. How's that working out?
One day.
Well, you got the car.
Right, got a car.
Yeah.
Yeah, work when I want, go on holiday when I want.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, one day.
One day.
That's a dream.
Yeah. Okay. So what did your family think?
I think both my parents were fully on board with it. They said that's a great idea.
Because you were young, weren't you?
Yeah, so I bought the house 6 months before we quit our jobs and started this. So just got the mortgage, just bought the house. Again, Rachel was completely on side. She basically said, she's happy to support it. She's happy to do whatever it took. And I was quite fortunate that she could have helped me if I needed it. But actually, I don't think once I had any support or financial support from her. I definitely had a lot of mental support. Financially, I don't think she did. It went down to the bare minimum. I cut every expense I could. Both my parents have kind of been self-employed or worked for themselves. So my history is kind of...
Yeah, so this wasn't unusual, really.
So, yeah, it was just kind of second nature almost. You go to work, like my dad's worked ridiculous hours for his whole life working on a farm. So that kind of was just stuck with me. That's what you do. That's where you go. And they've supported us ever since. I think they're probably the biggest fans we've got.
Yeah, on Facebook.
Definitely on social media.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they've always all supported heavily.
And never doubted.
No, I don't think any of them really doubted. Maybe a little bit further away doubted, but my immediate family, they always had, or they never showed me anyway. Even if they did doubt, there was definitely no way of them showing it. They all, from my point of view, they all showed they knew that I could do it or that we could do it. So yeah, I think that helps a lot, having that support.
I mean, I think it just adds to the self-belief, doesn't it? Because if you've got people, even subliminally, just saying, not sure.
Yeah.
In those darker times, you would kind of fall back on that, wouldn't you?
You really start to doubt yourself in them times. But no, I don't think I let on the darker times either.
Okay. They would have known though, I think.
I think I'm always quite excited by everything. There's not much that every step of the way I was like, wow, look at this, look at how this is happening, look at what we're doing here. They fueled it. Even when it was tough, they'd be going, yeah, but you're doing this and you're doing that. And from the outside, it looks incredible. So it was always being fueled. Again, I had no doubts. There was always belief.
So in those early days, if you could talk to yourself then, what advice would you give yourself?
Don't know.
What were the things that you were worried, even if you didn't let on to anyone else? What were you worried about?
I don't know if there's anything I was worried about. It was, again, it's confidence. I think I lacked a lot of confidence at the time. I felt like I was too young and I felt like people wouldn't take me seriously. And I tried to go to these networking groups. Actually, going to these networking groups, there were people there that kind of almost looked down, or I felt like everybody was looking down on me.
And I wonder if that was the case or whether that was you sort of mirroring that.
It could have just been my perception.
Yeah.
And again, it would have been me self-doubting.
Yeah.
So I was looking at them all going, wow, you've got huge businesses. You're really successful. And actually, the reality is, looking back on it, none of them were that big. None of them were that intimidating. At the time, I was petrified. I probably did that myself. And I remember the first networking meeting, standing in the corner on the phone, pretending to be on the phone because I was petrified of talking to anyone. So actually, it would just be kind of, the advice is don't be scared, just go and do it. But equally, that wouldn't have changed a thing.
No.
I think the advice would be, don't believe everything you see from the outside. They look like big, rich business owners. Actually, there's a lot of people out there that don't have a clue what they're doing. I think that's part of being a CEO or being an owner. You don't know what you're doing all the time. Sometimes you don't have a clue, but you have to be that person that makes that decision and that goes out and does it. So actually, if I viewed them all as not having a clue as well, I'd have probably, it's almost that imposter syndrome. I felt like I wasn't there, so I couldn't talk to them.
And I think through experience, isn't it now? Like the more that we talk to other business owners through our work, we realise that actually we all share similar problems, similar worries, and the perceptions that we have even of our own clients before they actually become a client is quite different from the reality. Certainly once they start actually being a little bit more honest with us.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's taken me years to learn that.
Yeah.
So that would be my advice, is to try and be more confident. Again, I don't know how you can try and be more confident, but it's just, to be honest, no one really worries. It's all built up inside myself, I think. So to come up with a way of doing that. Yeah.
It's part of the journey, isn't it? It's a bit cliche, but it's just.
Yeah. And that's it.
So I know you like selling, you like sales, you like marketing, which actually is a bit of a contradiction, isn't it? Because you're actually quite shy.
Yeah.
But that's what you enjoy doing. So talk me through those first few customers, how you got them and what you did.
First few. I mean, it was just continuously talking to people. It was trying to help. I think most of the time it was continuously trying to just give them little snippets of advice, trying to be in their face as much as possible. Not necessarily in their face, just try and hit them touch points. Actually, one of my first big clients that I think I landed, or I feel like it was, I went to a job interview for. And
that's a good idea.
Yeah. Well, my business partner advised me to go for job interviews because actually that's where our clients would be. They're looking for somebody in-house. We could be that external one. So, I've been petrified. I went to a job interview, sat there, talked them through how I could do everything. I remember coming away from it thinking, unsure. I think I called you on the way home to say, like, it was all right. I don't know if they want me to be internally working for them or whether I could actually bring them into Utopia.
Yeah.
And anyway, they called up probably the next day. I think it was really quick. Turned up the next day. Yeah. Where do we sign up? How do we sign up?
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe it. We did a job interview and got a client on the back of it.
Yeah. I'd say though that's probably the thing for us, isn't it? If we can actually get in front of people, we've got a very high success rate. It's just finding the people and getting
it's how do you get in front of them people?
Yeah.
And that's the hardest part. It's putting together all of the marketing content to try and get in front of them. How do you get that conversation?
And how do they believe that you're going to deliver what you say you are? Because actually everyone is saying they're going to essentially do the same core services, isn't it? Any accountant will do your accounts, will do your corporation tax return.
Yeah.
So what makes you different?
I think it's personally what makes me different is the tech. When you talk to me, you can kind of hear how much I kind of focus on it, the apps, the technology, the software. And actually, because I'm so passionate about it, people almost go, well, yeah, he knows what he's talking about. Actually, reality is I probably don't, but I love all that stuff. And I spend all my time looking at streamlining, how I can make things more efficient, how I can do something slightly differently, using different bits of tech that plug into each other.
As a result of that, you attract your own people, don't you? It's quite funny. So your clients are very different to my clients, even though they're under the Utopia banner. Yeah,
and I would say actually the majority of clients that I've attracted are similar to myself. They're kind of probably in the age range. They're probably focused more on the tech side of stuff. They're probably male as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, funny, isn't it?
and I guess they're the people that have trusted me, and over time it might change, and it might be that the other people
I guess identify
get
with
on
you,
board.
isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
difference. You feel like you've got common ground already.
And it's just talking to them, finding them.
Mm.
That's the hardest bit, is getting in front of them. Once we've got in front of them, actually, we believe in what we do. We have a clear structure that works. We know it works. It's worked with so many other businesses across various different industries.
So is that it? You just go for lots of job interviews?
No, we do just about everything we can. So that's emails, website. I mean, I spent hours building a website, scrapping it, building another website, scrapping it. We did Google ads. We've done Google, trying to appear on Google Maps.
So did all of that work attract clients?
To be honest, I don't know what did work and what didn't. I think the only thing that we can say is almost all of it together has attracted clients, because they came from various different places. Referrals definitely work the best. There's no doubt about referrals. People are almost sold before they talk to you. The hardest one is kind of cold conversations or cold leads. It's when they've not been referred on, they have that conversation, but once we get in front of them, it's fine. We tried mail lists, we've tried social media, we've tried Google, we've tried all these different points, and networking. To be honest, I don't know which one works best. It's almost everything. So again, social media, I've had business to business. I don't think there's any better platform than LinkedIn. There's so many business owners on LinkedIn, and there's so many. We've got work straight from LinkedIn, which has led to more work. Something we've always pushed is by going above and beyond, by doing a high service level to prove that we are different. Once clients do sign up, we prove we are different, and they stay with us. And I think it's the fact that we're proving that we're different, and we're proving that we deliver more, that actually causes them to refer on. So yeah, we tried just about everything. Some of it worked, some of it didn't. We've tried marketing companies, that didn't work. We've tried salesmen, that didn't quite work as we wanted it to. We've actually.
What do you mean, tried a salesman? What did you do?
So we hired somebody that was going to do all of this, fix all our sales problems, find the clients. But actually, I think the problem is it's the passion isn't there. They're not the owner. There wasn't enough time, because again, it takes time to build the trust. I think it's sort of 6 months lead time for most clients to sign on. From when we meet them, it probably takes a few months of continuously talking to them, supporting them, giving them a little bit of advice, giving them snippets before they actually do sign up. So actually, for somebody else to do it who doesn't do accounts, who doesn't do it all, and can't give as much advice as that, I think it was really difficult. And it's being the business owner, we had that passion. So we would be up at night messaging at 8-9 o'clock at night to somebody saying that we can do this and we can do that.
Salesmen work in every company, don't they? So why didn't it work in Utopia?
Why didn't it work in Utopia? I think Utopia is built on relationships, and the salesman essentially doesn't have that relationship and doesn't have that passion that we have, and that can't. How does a salesman build that trust? Because the accountant is the number one trusted advisor, and all of that we keep getting told. So as a salesman, do you trust salesmen? I would say most people don't. Salesmen sell to you. You almost take it with a pinch of salt. I think it's difficult to sell trust.
Yeah.
But
I think we have the same problem, actually. If they're a cold customer that hasn't come in via referral, that are just reading the website or looking at Google reviews, how do you build that trust? Because you can say, that they're going to have £1 million company in 6 months' time if they work with us, but where's the proof? Like, what? Every accountant could be telling them exactly the same story, and who do they choose?
Yeah, I guess it's who they trust more. It's who they get on with better, who they have that connection with. Because a lot of people kind of sell to you, and they'll talk to you in accountant language. They'll talk to you about a P&L, a balance sheet. Actually, business owners don't tend to know about that and don't tend to care about that. They want that in English. They just want to know what to do, what the numbers mean. They want someone to interpret that story. And I think that's where we make that big difference, is we try and interpret that story, and we try and say, this is what it is, this is what it looks like, this is how it's going, this is how it could end up, or what do you want from it? And we try and build that into it. And I think that stands out.
Yeah.
We
I'd say that we build a rod for our own backs as well, though, because our service isn't the same for any client.
No.
You know, and everything that we do is bespoke to each client. So they feel we're part of their business.
Yeah.
And that's quite a different concept, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it is very bespoke for every client.
Mm.
But that's part of what we do.
So moving a little bit away from that, are you happy with your work-life balance?
I think so, yes. Now, if you'd have asked me 6 months ago, I said no. I think it was tough 6 months ago. But
what was happening 6 months ago then?
Rachel was pregnant. We had some big clients that were quite demanding. And I think we'd probably bit off more than we could chew. We were doing so much for them. Going back to that bespoke service, we were doing a lot that wasn't what we should be doing or what we could do. So it was going above and beyond no end, which meant I was working stupid hours. I was trying everything I could to keep up with it, keep on top of everything. It was too much. And again, Rachel was pregnant at home. And I think there was a turning point. And you said to me, something's got to change. Something can't carry on. And when I thought about it, it was, okay, I've got 3 or 4 months left before the baby's due. If the baby comes now, we're in a bad position. As a business, we can't continue. We can't do that work if I did have to disappear. I can't do that whilst having a baby. So I think you said, you've got to do something about it. You've got to go out and decide what it is that's going on. And we chose to part ways. It was probably a big decision. Like one of my toughest decisions. I think actually for you, it was a no-brainer. But it was our highest paying client, the biggest client we've ever had. It was a huge amount of work. It was a huge amount of money.
And again, I think it wasn't just another client, was it? You were emotionally invested.
Yeah.
You put in such a lot of work, but it was never enough.
No.
And that was the problem, really.
Yeah. It was so demanding and it just wasn't enough. It was draining. And I think...
And curiously, because, even though it was our biggest client and actually it was quite a substantial revenue drop when we disengaged, it's that time balance though, isn't it? Because actually what else could you be doing with that time that's actually more valuable than that money we've lost?
Yeah. And I think we've rebuilt around it. We've taken one step to go back. 1 step back to go forwards, 2 steps forwards. Like looking back, it was the best decision we made. But at the time, it didn't feel like it.
No,
it was tough.
And part of that was a wellness decision, actually, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You were becoming ill.
Yeah. There were real times when I was so stressed, so fed up, so drained. I remember coming home once, sitting in the car, just sitting there for sort of half an hour, 45 minutes, didn't do anything, didn't even think, like there was nothing, almost switched off. I don't know. I couldn't tell you what went on for that 45 minutes. I got out of the car and kind of went in the house. And I dreaded coming to work. It was almost like I was done.
And you couldn't, you probably would have done eventually, but I think you'd almost become so low that you couldn't make that decision.
No, definitely not. You'd said to me, do we need this? Can we deal without it? Can we drop it? And at the time, absolutely not. I couldn't accept it. It was probably 20 to 30% of our total income. Maybe even more, maybe even 30, 40%. Like it was huge.
But it took like 100% of your time.
Yeah. And it was more than 100%. It was evenings, it was weekends. It was
we kind of talked about it in the office, actually, didn't we? Because it wasn't just you that worked on it, it was another team member. And the atmosphere just changed in the office on certain days of the week where there were deadlines or things that needed to happen.
Yeah.
Even I wasn't working on it, but even I was affected.
And it was changing the atmosphere of the office.
Yeah.
And that's going back to it. Actually, one of the massive turning points for me was I was in the car with Rachel. They called, obviously it's on loudspeaker, and they shouted at me down the phone. And she said, wow, I didn't mind them shouting at me. I didn't have a problem with that. It was when somebody else heard it, and it was embarrassing. Like, almost, I can't believe you've just been spoken to like that. And that was,
I mean, that isn't why you run your own business, is it?
no, and that was a big point where I kind of, and then again, if it's talking to staff like that, suddenly, I don't mind you talking to me like that, but not talking to other people or in front of other people like that.
Because I think, we have a responsibility to our staff, don't we? It's our decision whether we want to work with certain clients.
Yeah.
But they're stuck with it.
Yeah, they have no
choice.
They could quit, but I'd rather they didn't.
No. But when it's affecting them because of decisions we've made, that's hard.
Yeah.
But happier now with work-life balance?
Happier now with the work-life balance? Yeah, I think so. I guess you're never happy with the work-life balance. It's always something, but I don't mind it at the moment. I'm enjoying it. I come in, I do my bit, I go home, I get shouted at home as well.
As well as
whilst I'm here.
That's not true. So what would make it perfect then? What would be the perfect work-life balance?
I mean, I think I'd say what everyone thinks is more time at home, more time personally. But I love what I do. I love utopia. Like, that is me. Everybody I talk to, I drop it into conversation. It's like I eat, drink, sleep the brand, and I'm trying to build that brand. So actually, I love coming into work. I love doing it. I don't think there is ever a perfect life balance. I think it's probably as good as it's going to get, and I'm happy with it.
I think maybe rather than it being a balance, if you can find enjoyment in both, that's kind of the perfect, whatever the time, I guess, changes, doesn't it? There are certain times when you're needed more at home, or you have to be at work more.
Yeah.
But as long as you're happy in both of those environments.
Yeah. Well, we've built it to be, as I say, going back over the last 6 months, we built it knowing that I didn't have a baby. I can't take too much credit for that. But knowing that there was going to be a baby, that actually it needed to be a point where I could at any point disappear and it wouldn't cripple the business. So there's no reason that I'm needed on every single day. I could afford to take a day out. And I think
even if you don't.
Just knowing that, just having that is mentally reassuring, and it just kind of fills me with, okay, if I needed to shoot off, I could. Actually, reality is I probably haven't. I probably wouldn't.
No, that has taken kind of 5 years to get to that, hasn't it?
It took 5 years as well as 6 months of a big push. Like, there was a big mentality change for me personally, and almost you pushing me to do that.
So again, I think you kind of had to get that low to kind of pull yourself out.
Well, you say pull myself out. I don't think everybody around me pulled me out. You told me not to do it. It doesn't make a difference. And actually, I think you probably hid a lot from me at that time, because you kind of weren't worried at all. It was, that's fine. Without the cash flow, we don't need it. We'll carry on.
How I am, though. I'll just roll with the punches.
Absolutely not. Normally, you'd be the one panicking, stressing, and I was kind of going, well, if you're comfortable losing that sort of income, then there's no problems at all. Like, I'm fine. And actually, you probably were a little nervous. I don't know, but you definitely didn't let on, which filled me with more confidence. So.
Yeah, I don't think there was an alternative, actually. There was no other way out of that. That was the reality of the situation, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And if we'd have stayed, there's a chance that actually, not that we would have lost the business, I think.
It would have gone in a very different direction.
Yeah.
We would have had to expand to their needs. And then we would have been reliant on them. And we decided we didn't want to be reliant on one person. We wanted to have the control.
Not even that, going back to, we want to work for people that we like and that we feel we're having an impact with their business, that we enjoy, doing it, don't we?
Yeah.
We just kind of keep going back to that sort of core, isn't it? Why do we do what we do?
And I think that was a big part of it. You highlighted, and we went back to, why are we doing it? What are we doing? And it was thinking about that sort of thing that I kind of said, this isn't why we're doing it. This isn't what we're doing.
But really easy to do. Like, you just get swept along a path, don't you?
I was an employee.
Yeah.
And that was it. Miserable doing that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But we've learned, haven't we, from that?
Absolutely. And it's changed everything. Like, again, it's taking back that control, taking back that, yes, we want to work with you. Yes, we want to do that.
And actually, I think it's had a really positive effect on the team.
Yeah.
Because that would have been really damaging for us just to have said, look, suck it up. This is how it is. We can make these decisions and you just have to make it work.
Yeah.
Miserable. It was though, wasn't it? It was miserable.
Yeah.
So is that your biggest lesson to date?
Biggest lesson? Yeah, I think it would be that, or it's going back to the cash. When times are tough, you almost have to hit them tough times to step up. I think you get comfortable with when you've got money in the bank, when things are going well, you get comfortable and you get complacent. When something goes wrong, when something gets tough, actually, that's when you step up and you shine, or you don't. And as a business owner, you have no choice but to step up. So I think actually my biggest lesson is learning that when you
do have another choice, you don't have to step up.
And
that can be the difference between success and failure.
Exactly that. Like when you get to that point, when things are really tough, when it's stressful, when it's pressured, you either step up or you walk away. That's what I've learned the most. Actually, things are a lot harder than they first look. Like running a business is not easy. It's looking at everybody from the outside. Everybody kind of looks and goes, yeah, it's brilliant. Life's perfect. You run your own business. Actually, the reality behind it, so many business owners don't know what they're doing. Yes,
do you ever let on to anyone though?
No, you never do. And you always show how great things are going. But I don't think anybody ever lets on that. Sometimes it's shit. It's
crazy though.
Like, sometimes there's
You're
times
just fueling the fire, aren't you?
Yeah.
Everyone knows this isn't what's going on, but you still keep it going.
Yeah, and you still post them pictures on LinkedIn. Look how perfect my business is. But actually, behind closed doors, there's always fires. There's always problems. But I think it's learning to be comfortably uncomfortable. That's how I try and word it for myself. I try and push myself into that uncomfortable place. I've almost got addicted to being uncomfortable because I don't think that I work well when I'm comfortable.
No, I agree.
Or work well at all, but brilliant.
You can be quite a lazy person. And I think when you get too comfortable, you get lazy and everything just starts to shut down.
Yeah.
And you just start coasting.
Yeah, which is why I try and make myself uncomfortable again. Like actively try and make myself uncomfortable because I don't like being in the comfort zone.
So you talked about walking away. Have you ever thought, can't do this, I'm going to walk away?
I think there's probably been 2 or 3 points where it's been low, and I remember one very clearly. We just started up, we couldn't get anyone, we're desperately trying to find business. It was about 6 a.m. at the train station in Milton Keynes. I think it was cold, it was in the winter, we were going to Xerocon, we've got no money in the bank, we've got no clients, and there was somebody who we'd spoken to who said, I'm going to sign up tomorrow. And it was that point that I kind of went, well, clearly something's right. We're not doing it all wrong.
There was a weird time, wasn't there, that every time there was someone, I'm not really very spiritual, but it was like there was someone, every time we got to a low, something came from somewhere.
Yeah, and there was
like a sign,
an inquiry. There was somebody saying, can we sign up? Can we pay you? Every time it's got to a point where it's, can we do this? Are we doing it right? What is going on? And I think you have to hit them lows, and there's always a sign. There's always something. Because we were doing so much, it just, ironically, whenever we got to a point where it was, I don't know if we can do this anymore. We've run out of money. We've run out of steam. Don't know if are we doing it right? Are we doing the wrong things? Actually, is there a need for us? Every time I've hit that point, there's something that says, can we sign up? Can we have a chat? Can we go through something? Can you help me? And there's nothing better than them feelings at that point. As I say, I can remember stood at that train station. It was cold. It was raining. It was like October, November time, 6 a.m., feeling fed up. And just that comment of, yeah, I'm going to sign up. Wow. Okay. I need to carry on. I need to keep going.
Yeah, we go again. Every time though, it was strange.
Every time. Probably 3 or 4 times. Not quite been on, I'm going to walk away, but at a point where this isn't working. Can we carry on like this? Are we going to have to walk away? Is there going to be a business left? Something's come through. That's not just luck. We've done so much continuously that when we got to them points, something's come along. It was inevitable. It was always going to come along. But I think you have to hit them desperation points to then step up and find that new, or push yourself out there, find that new thing.
So I know you don't tend to be a worrier, but what things keep you up at night, or what things sort of play on your mind that you worry about?
That's tough. I tend to leave. There's cash, but I leave that for you. You worry about that a lot more than I do. So I kind of don't. I'm always really optimistic about it that, okay, fine, we've run out now, but it will come in next month or the month after. There'll be something. For me, what's kept me up at night, actually, there was one. We asked for a client review or a client to give feedback. And I think it was a score out of 10. And I think he gave us an 8 or a 9. And I was so upset. And I couldn't understand why. And that hurt. Like, that really hurt me personally. And I was so upset by it. Like, why? I've gone above and beyond on everything I've ever done. But to get feedback that it wasn't perfect almost upset me. I remember worrying about that. And actually, the reality is, I've definitely learned from it. And feedback is great. Actually, if it was a 10 every time, how do you improve?
Honest feedback is great.
Yeah. And it's getting that honest feedback, and because then you can improve from it. And actually, I've opened up a lot more on that, and I really appreciate honest feedback that's critical, because it's the only way I can get better. I'm not perfect. Well, I'm close to it, but I'm a long way off it. So what else has kept me up? It's work. So when I think it is the things that keep me up at night is when somebody complains or they're not happy or they're struggling. I almost take that personally to myself.
Yeah.
So
we had a lot of that in COVID, didn't we?
Yeah, during COVID, they're phoning up. They've got no cash. Okay. I'm sat in bed trying to work out what to do, how to do it, where we can go, what we can turn to. So it's almost their worries that keep me up. And actually, internally, the worries I tend to leave to you. And you worry more than I do, so it's quite nice.
That was one of the toughest bits for me, though, in COVID, and probably that made us come back into the office sooner. That we do worry about this stuff, but suddenly, if we can talk about it as a team or to one other person, just becomes a lot easier, doesn't it? But when you're at home, hearing these worries and trying to solve everything yourself, it's a lonely place.
You talk yourself down a deep dark hole, and that's. You never go, yeah, but this is going on. I'm going to get out of it. Or when you're in that place, you just need to talk to someone. And
I'd say that's where we're lucky. We've said it before, haven't we? That, we've got each other to talk to. Yeah. Whereas there's lots of business owners where it is just them, isn't it?
Owning a business is very lonely. And even us two together, it's still been lonely.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine how a single business owner is doing on their own, solely doing it. And a lot of them, have turned to us and things like that. But turn to somebody, because as I say, I've been fortunate to have you to turn to, and even then I still felt lonely at times. It's so tough. And also some things you don't want to talk about to certain people.
Yeah, to your partner at home.
Yeah. Because actually, if I start saying that the finances are going really horribly wrong, people at home would be saying, well, get out. What are you doing? Why are you still doing it? Go and get a job down the road. Go and work for this person. But actually, that doesn't help. That doesn't work.
Okay, so what's been your happiest time?
I remember the office. We got the office, coming in, looking at it, and it's that feeling of, wow, we're actually a business. We actually have an office. Like, I can't, that feeling of just, we're a real business at that point. I don't know why. I don't know what it was about it. It was huge personally for me. And I remember, it was an empty shell. There was nothing in here. I'd asked my family to come round. I've got friends coming round. I'm like, everyone come look at this office. There's nothing in it. Maybe a £20 IKEA desk.
Yeah.
And a £100 laptop.
But come and have a look again.
Come and have a look. It's freezing cold. We can't afford to put the heating on. The heating doesn't work. But come and look at it. It's incredible.
We didn't have a door, did we, to start with?
Well, yeah. That was just a huge feeling of
home. Yeah, it was, yeah. Okay, so what was the dream at the beginning?
I think it was to have a business, to have 5 to 10 members of staff, to have it functioning that I could have a day or two out and not needed all the time, to have an office, to have what I would call a running business, a few members of staff, the place runs. It doesn't need me to do anything. It doesn't need me to be operational, essentially. And I think we're pretty close to hitting that. Obviously, it's changed completely now, but that's what I wanted. I just wanted to see if we could do it, to see if we could have a business that was running with a few members of the staff.
So that's it. You've achieved it.
Well, yeah, but that's not it now.
So what's the dream now?
That's what I wanted. Now it's the next step. Where do we go from here? Bigger office, more people, more clients. It's supporting more clients. I love to help the client. Like everything I kind of do is trying to make them more money, and it's actually how many of them can we help grow to achieve their goals? Can we help them hit a few £1 million turnover? Can we help them streamline and make more profit? Can we help them improve their home life balance? Can we support them to achieve what they want? And how many more people can we do that for? Yeah, a few members of the staff and an office. That was the dream once upon a time, actually.
So do you ever reflect on that and think, actually, yeah, I have achieved, in quite a short period of time, really, you've achieved that initial dream?
The answer is no, without you saying it there. When somebody says that, I kind of go, yeah, but what about this? What about that? And then when people say, you've achieved it, you achieved the success you wanted, but I haven't. That's not it. I don't know what it is, but it continuously moves and it continuously grows. I just want it to be more. I don't know what more is.
So how will you know that you've achieved the next thing? Or is this now just a...
How do I know when I retire? And I don't know if I ever will, because I don't know if I'd want to.
No.
I think it's just I'd like to be known, as in the brands, people to recognise the brand, people to know what we do, who we are, and that's just locally at the moment. Once that's achieved, then it's nationally, and then we'll carry on from there. But it's to be a big brand in Milton Keynes, or to be known in Milton Keynes, and then to carry on, to be known in the industry. I'm not too fussed about the industry, to be fair. I think that's probably where we differ a bit. I'd rather be known to other business owners, to other businesses here, than in the industry. That's great. I'm not helping them. I'm not supporting them. I'm not doing anything with them other than just knowing them. It's about that, about kind of being known here at the moment.
So are you happy now?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm content. Things are going all right at the moment, just in general. Things could always be better, but I don't think there's anything. I'd say yes, I'm happy at the moment.
So who's had the biggest influence on your life?
I can't say two people, can I? It's one person.
You can. You can say two. They have. I'm guessing they've influenced in different ways.
It's very different ways. I'd say my mum's had a huge impact on my life financially. Like she's financially driven. She's always pushed me, and the drive comes from my mum and everything like that. So she's always worked ridiculous hours, done so much, and is financially focused. She told me to try and be an accountant, and that was it. That was kind of, okay, fine, that's what I'll do. And she's, from a business point of view and everything like that, the focus there, that's been her. I'd always wanted her to be proud of it, or to be proud of where I've got to.
Do you think she is?
I mean, yes, I think she is, probably.
Well, she likes the Facebook post.
She likes all our stuff. She talks about us. So, yeah. But I say potentially my dad's had a bigger influence on me. He's never focused on money. He's never done anything for himself. Doing things around the house, doing things personally, doing anything for himself, he doesn't do. He puts it off. As soon as somebody else asks him to do something, he goes and does it. And he does it that night, 11, 12 o'clock at night. He'll be up working, doing things. He's never earned a huge amount of money on the farm, but he's always so content and laid back. Not much stresses him out. And I almost want to achieve everything for him and to be able to kind of support him or give something back, because he's done so much for us. He's always been there. Even, I'm sure he's struggled financially, but he's never shown it. He's always done everything he could for us.
So how does that change how you approach things?
I think because of him, I'm laid back. I'd say I get that from him. And I've learned that if you help enough people, they'll help back. What goes around comes around. Like, he does so much for other people that whenever he needs something or whenever he needs someone, they tend to be there, or something happens in return. And that's not financial, that's just support, a bit of advice, that's something, that's friendships, like the whole lot. So I think actually that's why I like to go above and beyond with what I do here. And that's why I try and I happily sit and talk to someone, advise them on everything to do, to go away and do it themselves, because there's no point in paying us to do it. They're better off doing it themselves. I don't want to be greedy. I'd rather they had the right things, the right advice, the right tools to go and do what they need to do. So I think he's been huge on my view and my outlook that actually you don't need money. You don't need to be flashy. You can't spend all of your time focused on work and business. Actually enjoy life as it comes. And I think that's something he does. He's present in every moment with us. So yeah, I think that's what he does.
So what's the most interesting thing about you that I don't know?
I'm quite boring. The interesting thing about me that you don't know.
Do you need a bit of time for this to try and make something up?
I mean, yeah, if you ask all my friends, they say I'm boring. So I'm a boring accountant. What's the most interesting thing? What is that?
I'm not really doing a lot to dispel the...
No, I'll stand by that I'm boring. Like that is true. That you don't know.
There's got to be something interesting about you.
I mean, no. I guess I don't know if you know it or not, but when I was younger, I mean, my mum and dad have always had horses and loved horses, and I used to go to Wales all the time and help. So my nan used to work with like horses and break them in. So that's like training them to be able to take a rider or whatever. And she used to use me to help her do that. So I used to sit on them for the first time. Like I'd stand on the back. I'd do kind of these weird and wonderful stunts on the back of them, standing on their bum, riding around, going over jumps. And that was pretty incredible. So I can ride horses. I've ridden horses that aren't broken in, and I've helped break them in. Don't know if you knew that.
No, I knew you could ride horses. Quite scary, I think.
Yeah, the bump, it was all sorts, but
And you were never hurt?
Not really, no. Nothing other than a scrape or a couple of tears, but it was just fun. Like it was the excitement of getting on a horse that could have done whatever it wanted.
Like what it's going to do.
Yeah, it was just going outside of that comfort zone and losing control. And yeah.
Okay, last one now.
Okay.
Be relieved. What would you like to leave behind as your business legacy?
My business legacy. I'd like the brand to be known. I'd like to have built the brand to be.
So the brand that David built?
No, Utopia to be recognised. Not necessarily me.
Okay. So what's your legacy though?
What's my legacy? I'd like people to know that I've been successful. Hopefully one day, if I can be successful, someone to recognise it and see me as a mentor, see me as actually you did that, you achieved that. Can you help me do it? Or where do I go? What do I do? I think that would be huge for me. Like just having somebody that almost looks up to me. I think that would. I don't know if anyone ever would, but one day somebody just to kind of go, yeah, that was a great achievement.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Good.
Yeah. Tough.
If you've enjoyed listening to our podcast, please like and follow, and make sure to tag us on social media.